another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from West Bexar County. My name is Mike Jimenez. Joe Garcia has the day off. For those of you who don't know, he is currently doing training right now for the Department of Homeland Security. So he was out all of last week, out all of this week, and all of next, but he will return towards the end of the month. We'll be back in the studio, but the studio today is my home. So you're going to see my kids walking by. You're going to see my dogs, Cody, right now, eating like a madman right now right below me. We're going to have a fun show today, sports, pop culture, nostalgia, ton of topics. It is summertime, and typically in the summer, it sucks to talk sports, right? But we have a lot going on today. I mean, the Cowboys, Colin Kaepernick, baseball, Aaron Judge, UT football, lots going on. And to be my co-host today, you know him, you love him, John Dyer. We call him Spurs and Salsa on Spurs Twitter. What's going on, John?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Dude, I'm having an amazing day. Now, in your honor, by the way, I'm a bit of a poser today.
Okay.
My shirt. I did this for you, baby.
I believe it, too. I believe it.
Space City, baby. I went to my first Houston Astros baseball game ever about 2 or 3 weeks ago at Minute Maid, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I had a fun time, and, I might change allegiances. I've been a Texas Rangers fan my entire life. Is it too late in life at age 47 to jump ship and go, you know what? Maybe I'll cheer for the Astros a little bit.
I spoke to other Rangers fans, and we're okay losing you. We've decided to sign you over.
Very nice, very nice. For a fan to be named later apparently is what the Rangers are going to get. But we have a lot to get into today. First and foremost, welcome to free agency, Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, didn't know you had it in you. Pulling off a trade, going off and picking up a big name off of free agency. We'll get into that. We might see the return of Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick offered a job in the NFL, not on the field, but off field. And here's the thing, the person who offered the job, if anybody's going to hire him, it's that dude, his former coach. Yeah. We'll get into that as well. Aaron Judge, talking about the Astros, baseball in general. Aaron Judge broke a record yesterday for the fastest to 300 home runs. 300 career home runs in less than 1,000 games. We're going to ask the question, is he the most exciting player in baseball? If you had to put down your hard-earned money to go watch a specific player, because I remember back in the day putting down money to go watch McGuire and Sosa. I remember putting down money to watch Greg Maddux and to watch Barry Bonds. But right now, August 2024, we're going to put down hard-earned money to go watch a game. Is it going to be to watch Aaron Judge, or is it somebody else? Is it Mike Trout? Is it Shohei Ohtani? Is it a particular pitcher? We'll get into that as well. Lots going on with UT football, man. We're 3 weeks away from the start of the college football season. I think it's the Kennesaw State is what UTSA is playing. But UT, big season ahead. Big fans out there. Big expectations of this team. And already they're having issues with a certain position, running back. That's not normally their issue, right? This is RB. If LSU is DBU, Texas is RBU, right? Because I could go back in time, from Ricky Williams all the way to Cedric Benson to, all of these guys, Jamal Charles, all these guys. It's all about Texas when it comes to that. And they're having issues at running backs. We'll get into that. And then in pop culture, was surprised to see Friends star Matthew Perry passed away last year. Arrests made in his death. So we'll get into that. John Dyer is my special guest. John, how are things going today, man? I had a lot to get out of my system.
No, you did. Things are going really well. I'm getting ready for football season. You touched on the Cowboys, Longhorns, Roadrunners. Kids are back in school this week, so you're not going to hear any running around on my end. So things are busy. Things have one thing about summer, especially as a parent, summer's fun in theory, right? Because you can sleep in a little bit more. The kids are home. You can make plans. But for me, it's nice to be back to a schedule, normalcy.
Right.
And it feels like with the kids going back to school, it feels like football season's real close.
Right on the corner.
You don't want to get too excited, but your fantasy drafts are coming up in the next few weeks. You mentioned, UT football's at the end of this month. College football will be played this month.
Yeah, well, we're 2 weeks away, right? So I said 3.
Yeah,
we're 2 weeks
2.5
away.
weeks away. Yeah. So it feels like sports season's coming back.
It's fun, man. I'm looking at UTSA's schedule right now. Their first game of the year, August 31. So it's 16 days away, man. All the fun that goes along with that. By the way, our stream is up right now. We're on Facebook and on YouTube right now. 1,041 subscribers strong.
Nice.
We're the only Monday through Friday sports podcast going midday. You can't find anything on Sports Talk Radio, San Antonio Sports Star, Ticket 760. They go dark locally, right? They go national. Our good friends in the building, Mike Taylor, Bree J, have moved their podcasts over to the evenings. So now what I'm saying is, you want to talk sports, this podcast is going to blow the freak up over the course of the next couple of months, because we've got UTSA football, we've got UT football, we've got NFL, Spurs. Cowboys, Texans, Spurs.
Yeah.
And where can you go to talk about this? You go here.
That's
here.
Right.
You might not like me, right? A lot of people might not like me as Sports Twitter, but I'm your only hope when it comes to midday local sports talk. By the way, we have lots of people already on the thread. You can be part of the show by taking part of our stream. Mario Cavasso saying, "What up, fellas?" Sis saying, "Morning, Mike." Lots of people coming in here talking wrestling, and I don't do that. Sam Salinas already chiming in saying he'd spend his money on Otani. Sith asking the question, Mike, your face looks slimmer. I am.
Ow.
I'm getting there. You in love
for the ladies?
That's a no comment right there. No comment right there. Let me just say this. I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. All right, college football season starts August 24th, according to Tim Gonzalez. Maybe not the full slate, but we're going to get some games, right? We're going to get some games.
Mm-hmm.
But let's kind of get into it, because the thing about it is that the Dallas Cowboys are in training right now in Oxnard, California. They lost their first preseason game over the weekend. It was like the second last play of the game, 4 seconds to go, whatever. It's preseason, right? The defense showed out a little bit, got 4 interceptions. But now you're seeing the Cowboys starting to finally make moves. And it's like their hands was forced because of this, because they had injuries to the defensive line. Cowboys last 24 hours picking up 2 players. And what's so funny was that this morning you were telling me, you're like, Michael, these are good moves. They're significant moves. So much so that RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys was like, where was this all summer long? Seeing the Cowboys go and make moves. So here's who they got, right? Carl Lawson is going to the Cowboys. Carl Lawson, formerly of the Jets. Free agent pickup, not bad. I mean, this is a guy who had more than 20 sacks in his career, who, when he is playing and healthy, is a legit player, a legit starting player. He was available. Cowboys went out and got him. Cowboys also then traded for Jordan Phillips, a nose tackle. Jordan Phillips, they traded a 6th-round draft pick for Phillips in a 7th.
Yeah.
Not a bad move.
Yeah.
Not a bad move. And also part of me is thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, not only is this a depth move, but maybe, just maybe, it's a we don't believe in Mozzie Smith kind of move as well. For the Cowboys' first-round draft pick from a couple of years ago. Yeah. That being said, how surprised are you, scale of 1 through 10, on the Cowboys pulling off a trade and actually picking up a good player in free agency this late in August?
So I'm not terribly surprised, because the Cowboys, when DVDs were a big thing, you would go to Walmart and you'd go on the big rack and you see all the newest releases. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones always turn to the left to the $5 bin.
Okay.
The $5 bin, you're going to get American Pie 8. You're going to get straight to DVD movies. That's just what they like to do. And the best time to get those bargain basement deals is during camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
When free agency is going on, again, Jerry Jones turns left. He's not going for the new releases. He's not going for the high profile, high price. But around camp time, when teams' rosters are starting to mold, that's when they go pick, all right, we do need a nose tackle. We do need defensive end depth, especially when Sam Williams got hurt. Also, with the whole nose tackle situation, I think the Cowboys defense is going through a philosophy change. Dan Quinn liked to be very small. He played safeties at linebacker very regularly. He actually had Mozzie Smith lose weight after college, to be slimmer and faster. I think they're asking Mozzie to get the weight back. They went out and got real linebackers. They only made one free signing, which is Kendrick, which is significant.
Right.
But that's the only thing they did. It's the only time they turned into the DVD section. Mike Zimmer wants to stop the run, which excites me as a fan because I know all the talk about postseason lack of success goes against Dak. Oh, Dak can't win in the postseason. In reality, every good team that could run the football would run it down the Cowboys' throats. Aaron Jones, he probably loves Cowboy Stadium.
And now they have Josh Jacobs. They got better.
Yeah. Shanahan, the reason why the Niners always beat the Cowboys, Shanahan's the best play caller for running in the league. He was their kryptonite. So the fact that they're very quietly getting better at rush defense, getting Kendrick, getting Demarion Overshawn healthy, trying to get Mozzie Smith into a bigger body, and then now it's quietly a really good move. And I think Phillips will play more than you think. I don't know if it's anything about Mozzie, the signing. I just think Zimmer said, I need a real nose tackle.
Well, and
the Cowboys don't know what that was.
That was going to be the Achilles heel of the Cowboys right there.
It has been. Yeah.
It was going to be just run it down their throats. You can have Micah Parsons there forever. Just run it down. Just put two guys on Micah, run it down their throats, and get 3 or 4 or 5 yards and a dust cloud of dirt, right?
All day.
All day. Just run it down their throats. You get the time of possession. So the Cowboys right here are at least signaling that they're not waving the white flag a little bit right now, right?
Which that was surprising.
So ESPN earlier today on Get Up, I love the fact when the national media starts addressing what we do here at this show. Not that they're addressing us, but they're, like 3 days late in all this, okay? Pleasantly surprised. I don't know if you remember the Hawk Tua girl earlier this year. Dude, we were talking about Hawk Tua 5 minutes after it happened, like the day after it aired, right? We were doing this whole segment.
Now she's a celebrity,
And then a week later, she blew up, right? So last week on this show, we were talking about the Cowboys and whether or not they were low-key tanking. And the reason for them low-key tanking is that not only have they not extended Micah Parsons or CeeDee Lamb or Dak Prescott, they didn't extend Mike McCarthy either.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks, and I mentioned this, and now you see Greeny and all those guys talking about it, that this is kind of a low-key tank job. Not so much that it's a tank job where they're like going to try to lose early on. What I am saying is that they start the season 2-4, they're going to pull the plug and end the season. That is my version of the tank. If they start off 4-2, obviously they're going to try to make the playoffs and do what they do and all that stuff. But if they got off to a slow start, they're going to can Mike McCarthy's ass. They're going to sit certain players, and they're not going to do certain things that'll make them win because the Cowboys could look at this and go, you know what? Maybe it's just best to do the hard reset. Just do the hard reset. Because I understand both camps. The Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott, they're going to suck. The Cowboys keep Dak Prescott, they're not going to win. They're kind of in a catch-22 when it comes to it.
Well, here's my thing. First of all, if they're going to tank, they're doing it wrong. They should have traded CeeDee Lamb before the draft. They could trade him now. My issue with that is the Niners floated around the idea of trading Brandon Ayuk, and we've heard some deals, that they did get offers. So there's a market for that, right? Lamb's, I'm not going to argue if Lamb's better or worse than Ayuk. There's a market for what they could get for Lamb, right? They've seen it. Same with Dak. The thing about it is Dak's going to give you enough wins where you're not going to get a high draft pick. And if you don't want to move forward with them, you should have talked them into a sign and trade somewhere else. So my issue is have a plan. If you're gonna sign CeeDee Lamb, go sign him already. That market's set also. Justin Jefferson reset the market. He's the perfect player to reset the market because he's the best receiver in the league. So you you know what you got to pay Lamb. You know what you could get for Lamb if you trade him. Do something. Do either or.
Well, the thing about rebuilds, John, is rebuilds come in two fashions, right? There's what's called the V-shape rebuild, and then there's the U-shape. Spurs fans know about this. We're not talking about the Spurs, but just the idea of a rebuild. A V-shape is when it comes down and comes straight back up. Tim Duncan, okay? Sucked for 1 year, bounced right back up, right? The U-shape is when you hit the bottom and then you ride the floor for a long time. That's where the Spurs are right now, right? It's a 3, 4, 5, 6 year rebuild. What I was thinking about the Cowboys is that they can actually, if they keep a CeeDee Lamb, they keep Micah Parsons, that they could actually do a V-shape type of bounce back, right? Because maybe they go out and get a Quinn Ewers, maybe they go get a Shadir Sanders, and they make that bounce right back up. We've seen that already. I mean, we were talking, Jack Thompson and I were talking about this the other day on Alamo City Sportscast about how there's certain players out there that, we were talking about the guard changing in quarterbacks. So it was like, okay, there was no more Brady, no more Manning, no more Breeze. It's all going to be about Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. And then all of a sudden, over the horizon, you see C.J. Stroud. Now you have Caleb Williams with a legit team. And you're seeing all these younger guys coming out there. And then way out in the distance, you got the Jared Goffs of the world and the Dak Prescotts. Like you have about 15, 16 quarterbacks who could legitimately win the Super Bowl. This is a time for us to bounce up.
True. I would say it's the Mahomes era only. Because right now we're with Mahomes, it's like Michael Jordan in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Nobody's eating but him. I'm not going to call it the Burrow. I'm not going to throw Burrow, Allen, or Dak, or Lamar Jackson. They're a tier below, but until I see it, I don't know who's beating Mahomes. To your point, though, the Cowboys could do a quick rebuild.
Right.
The problem is if Dak plays, they're probably not going to be in the top 10 in the draft. You know what I mean? And going back to Lamb, make your decision. I just want a decision. Either sign him and do what you're saying, or trade him if you want to do like a complete rebuild. Either way, there seems like a lack of planning. And as far as McCarthy being on his last deal last year, Jerry's just cheap. He didn't want to pay a buyout. And
but man, remember the movie Moneyball?
We saw him do this with Garrett too. Yeah.
Well, right, but how much control of the locker room did Garrett have when he didn't have any job security? I mean, the movie Moneyball, Art House saying, I can't control a locker room on a 1-year deal, an expiring deal.
But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't fire anybody. He just, when he's done with them, he just says, play out your contract, because he's too cheap to pay the buyout. We're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh later. Jim Harbaugh was available if Jerry had made a move this offseason.
Right.
Belichick was available if he wanted to make it. I mean, he still is, but Jerry didn't know that. What I'm saying is Jerry doesn't want to pay a buyout. So he just lets these coaches die out on the, it's like you got a fish and you don't want to keep it, but you let it die out on your hook. That's all he's doing, and it's cheap and it's stupid. But to your point again, if he wants to bring a veteran coach next year, they're gonna want Dak. They want they want a good quarterback. Either that, or if you have a high draft pick, or
a Shadir Sanders, or a Quinn Ewers, or a top quarterback prospect.
Yeah,
Texas Frank reaches out. By the way, we have a $1.99 super chat saying, "Puro pinche Cowboys, vamos merch shopping." What all in? In. And that's where Jerry Jones pissed off a lot of Cowboy fans, was using the term all in.
Yeah, why say that? Yeah.
When we know that they're one of the cheapest spending teams in all of the NFL. And it's bizarre. RJ Ochoa was talking about something on Blogging the Boys earlier today. I got to see if I can find it. But he was mentioning the fact that there's certain teams out there that have 10, 12 players with $10 million or more in salary, and some of the Cowboys just have like a handful. Like, how did that happen? How did that happen? They're not spending any money whatsoever when it comes to it. CeeDee Lamb remains unsigned. Dude, here's what I think is going to be the nail in the coffin for Dak Prescott if they don't sign him long term. Nail in the coffin when it comes to Mike McCarthy. It's going to be if the Houston Texans roll up into Jerry World state, another team from Texas rolls up in there and just annihilates them. That is what I think is going to be the turning point where Cowboy fans are going to look over and go, dude, the JV team, the team that is not even supposed to be the legit team of Texas. We're America's team. We're not even Texas's team if that happens. And
I agree. I think.
And they play each other towards the end of the season, November 18th. I bet you after that game, I think Michael McCarthy's let go.
Which is, I just hope they have a plan. You know what I mean? If it's to tank and to move on from Dak and McCarthy and Lamb or not Lamb, have something, just have a plan. Because if you're
Mario Cavazos is saying on our stream here, he goes, Jerry's tightwad ass is shopping the clearance rack at Fifth Avenue. Yeah. Okay, so basically what you're saying is like all these other teams are Nordstrom's and Cowboys are Nordstrom's rack.
Nordstrom rack. Yeah.
By the way, here's the thing, John Dyer, because Tony Analysis is asking, who's this co-host? John Dyer, Spurs and Salsa on Twitter and also on Facebook as well. You have a podcast when it comes to the Spurs, and I've been on it before. Samsley is asking the question, does top 10 in the NFL draft really matter much anymore when strong quality players are available in rounds 1 and 2? It depends on what
quarterback.
Dude, JJ McCarthy, I feel so bad for the Minnesota Vikings. He goes out there and is electrifying the training camp, right? Going in there as a rookie. Harbaugh was all about him, man. Hyped him up. This was a second-round talent that got hyped, that got pushed to the top 10 because Harbaugh was hyping him up. Goes out there, throws 2 touchdowns in the first Vikings preseason game. Gets hurt in the last play. Out for the year.
Yeah.
Didn't even look like that big of an injury. Out for the year. It is so, so painful. You were asking earlier you were saying this is the Mahomes era only.
Well, let's go back to Sam's question about top 10. How many quarterbacks fell out of the top 10? I mean, even this year was supposed to be a weaker quarterback draft. Michael Penix went number 9. Very few of them fall out of the top 10. You have to probably be drafting in the top 10 to get a quarterback.
And there's no lottery in the NFL. It is all about getting the worst record possible. Bo Nix was taken this year early in the draft as well in the top 12. You look at that right now. The Houston Texans have C.J. Stroud because they were the second worst team in the league that year.
Yeah,
and you need to have that, or you move up. And to move up into the top 10 in the NFL draft, especially when they know that you quarterback, it takes a huge haul to make that happen. And that's painful. It's a race to the top and a race to the bottom. Now, if the Cowboys are going to go out and get like a Quinn Ewers, you might be able to get him around 15 or 16, move up, trade a first and a second round.
I mean, nobody would have said J.J. McCarthy. He ran a very bland offense. Michael Penix was supposed to fall in the 20s. He didn't. I think Cowboy fans think quarterbacks fall from the sky because our last 2 quarterbacks did fall from the sky.
Yeah, 4th-round draft pick, Dak Prescott, and an undrafted rookie free agent in Tony Romo.
That's not how it usually works. And I think if the Cowboys do move on from Dak, we're gonna get slapped with a big face of reality.
Sam saying, "Hey, you don't get a top $10 billion franchise, the first $10 billion franchise in sports history by spending freely, right?" Come on, man. They sell a bunch of T-shirts. That's what they do. By the way, we were talking about the Chiefs and what's going to stop them. I'm going to tell you what's going to stop the Chiefs. Father Time. Father Time's going to stop the Chiefs because now with Mahomes in his prime, this will probably be the first year that we see a decline in Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce turning 35 this season.
Really?
35 years old. That is his bet. Now, Xavier Worthy is out there, rookie from UT, got picked number 31. He's going to be playing for the Chiefs this year. I mean, that guy is super fast. But that tight end position, if Kelce is not either healthy or elite, that's when we're going to see Mahomes go down a little bit, at least come back down to earth when it comes to things. Now, we're talking about Xavier Worthy, UT football, man. Going to be big this year for UT football. Couple of running backs went down. Like, who were they considered RB1 and 2 went down or 1 and 3.
Not like 1 and 5. Or they're 1 and 2.
The depth chart.
Yeah, they only have 3 scholarship running backs right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's they're starting. They were going to start 1A, 1B. One of those guys, CJ Baxter, went down for the year, and then Christian Clark, who was probably wasn't going to see playing time until Baxter got hurt, went down for the year. So the Longhorns are down to 3 scholarship running backs, and they're now having to grab players from other positions to build depth. Ryan Niblett, who's a wide receiver, I think he played some running back in high school, so they've moved him down to running or up to running back. And I want to say a tight end, Juan Davis, who played some Wildcat in high school, I believe, quarterback. They're going to use him. Those guys, I don't know how much playing. Ryan Niblett's one of those faster guys with the ball in his hands. So I think they'll try to see what he can do. Their running back one will still be Jadon Blue, who really good. He's the one that ended the year last year as the starter when Jonathan Brooks went down. But they are scrambling for depth. Now, it could be a blessing in disguise. Roshan Johnson, who's running back for the Bears, went to UT as a quarterback, and a similar situation happened where they moved him to running back, and now he's an NFL running back. So it's not doom and gloom, but when you have season-ending injuries to the same position, it hurts your depth. And then in college, it's not like the NFL, right? If your quarterback 2 and 3 go down, you can grab somebody, not the best case scenario, but you can grab someone worst case scenario from XFL or something. In college, you can't just go grab a free agent this close to the season.
Your roster is what your roster is.
Yeah, your roster is what your roster is. There's no transfer. There's nobody in the transfer portal in August. So what they've done is they've moved 2 players to running back to try to build some depth. But going back to the Longhorn season, as a fan, it's the craziest season. There's so much uncertainty, right? So on paper, they're a top 5 team. They're number 4 in the AP poll. They went to the playoff last year. They've got their entire offensive line coming back, their quarterback. On paper, everything should be good, but was last year a fluke? We don't know yet. They're moving into the SEC. Can they even handle that? Are they gonna be exposed with this schedule? They have Michigan, I think, week 2 at Michigan.
Right.
So, we're gonna find out real quick. It's just a weird year, and it even feels, I guess I'm a Longhorn fan that's, throughout the last 20, not 20, the last 10, 15 years, it has me still kind of skittish. Right? Are we really a top 4 team? Can we really handle the SEC? But again, on paper, they should.
Just make the playoffs, baby. Just make the playoffs.
Yeah. Colorado
State's the first opponent on August 31st, so we're just 16 days away from that. Yeah. That's going to be ESPN at 2:30. Michigan is week 2, currently ranked number 9. That's going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox.
Doesn't Fox sucks for college football? You have number 4 versus number 9 at 11 a.m. Like, what are we doing?
And then the UTSA game is week 3. ULM is week 4. Then they finally pick up the SEC schedule with Mississippi State. Time and date has not been determined. Then they've got OU, Georgia right after OU, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky. And I'm looking at the prices of the tickets right now. And 4, Colorado State, ULM. You can get cheap seats on StubHub for $28. The most expensive seats this year. Week 2, if you want to go to Ann Arbor to go watch the game in Michigan, you can get nosebleeds for $331. But then you have the game against Georgia here at DKR, $338. $338 for the cheap seats. Kyle Field, last game of the regular season, $584 for nosebleeds. $584 for nosebleeds to see the return of Texas against A&M. How excited are you, John Dyer, as a diehard UT fan, to see that rivalry back after more than a decade?
I'm excited for that. I'm also a season ticket holder, so there's just better games, right? I'm going to go to the Georgia game. Even Mississippi State, that's better than most Big 12 games. Kentucky, Florida. I know Florida's not going to be good this year, but Texas, Florida, I don't know that's ever happened.
Right.
And now that's just it. And now that's just a regular season game. I'm excited, obviously, for the Texas now has 3 rivalry games: Oklahoma, Arkansas, and A&M. That's fun. That's fun as a fan. That's what college sports is all about. The funny thing about realignment, usually realignment kills rivalries, but for Texas, it actually brought back rivalries and brought back tradition. It's probably the only move in all of realignment that did that. So I'm extremely excited as a season ticket holder.
Now, week 2 against Michigan, I mean, that's a new head coach, right? Yeah. New head coach. I'm looking at the odds, right? According to DraftKings and Caesars, the spread for week 2, September 7th, against Michigan, Texas, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Wolverines favored by 3.5 or 4 points, depending on the site. So somewhere between 3.5 and 4 points. You get 3 points for being the home team. So that is Vegas's way of saying that on paper they believe that they're equal. Now, speaking of Michigan, their former coach, Jim Harbaugh, is now over with the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
And the dude is making headlines today for a lot of different reasons. The first headlines wasn't welcome back to Michigan because of, the crap that he was doing behind the scenes and X, Y, and Z, right? But now offering a job to Colin Kaepernick, not to be a quarterback or a backup, offering him a position on the coaching staff to work with the QBs. A, good idea or not? B, do you think he would actually consider being a coach in the NFL?
On paper, it's a good idea because Colin Kaepernick has run Harbaugh's offense, right? So taking away the celebrity status and the issues, a lot of coaches hire former players, right? Because they know their scheme. They
took them to the Super Bowl. Took them to the Super Bowl. People forget because with Colin Kaepernick, with the whole experience here, let's just give a little backstory here. Colin Kaepernick made national headlines because he kneeled during the national anthem, and he basically got run out. He got blackballed in the NFL. He got run out of the league. Yeah. And all these people are like, well, it's because he sucks. No, dude, he was in the Super Bowl 3 years before. Okay.
Yeah.
He was in his prime at that time. Colin Kaepernick basically was cancel cultured out of the league, right?
Yeah.
If he's going to get back in the league, he's had tryouts with a couple of teams. But if he's going to come back to the NFL and he really wants to be part of the NFL fraternity, there's only a handful of teams or a handful of people who will actually open that door for him. And Jim Harbaugh is one of them because not only is he his former coach, former mentor, took his team to the Super Bowl, almost won, almost beat the Ravens that year.
Yeah.
If he wants it in the NFL, this is going to be telling because if he turns this down, he doesn't want to
be there. Yeah, that's true. And that's a good point because this is probably one of the very few, if only, doors to get back in. And it's a good door, right? Because he knows Jim Harbaugh. He's played for Jim Harbaugh, to your point. And it's a good opportunity. And I think, again, another good point you made, like, we're going to know if he really wants to be in the league or if it's just PR.
Yeah. Now, yesterday history was made in Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge hit home run number 300 of his career. Aaron Judge did it in 955 games. Again, the fastest to ever hit to 300. He's a Yankee star, dude. He's going to go down as an all-time great, not only because of the accolades and also because of home run hitting and all that stuff, but he wears pinstripes, man. I mean, that still means a lot. It's like being a Laker. It's like being a Cowboy or being a Celtic. It just matters. But 300 home runs, I've seen him play before. I've gone to Yankee Stadium and I've seen him go out there and do his thing. I've never seen him hit a home run, though. But my question for you, we got some money to spend. Aaron Judge, we're going to go see him or we're going to go see Ohtani? Who would you rather see play live? I've seen both.
I would probably say Ohtani because we've never seen a pitcher hitter like that. I don't know if we ever will.
Right.
What's crazy about Ohtani, too, is more than ever in all sports, we're in such a specialized sports era, right? Even little kids, my kid only plays baseball. My kid only plays soccer.
Right.
We're in even at a young age, we're specializing these kids. And yet you've got a player that can hit and pitch as good as anybody in the league. that's special. And if you had a chance to see him do both, that's where I'm spending my money. And Aaron Judge would be great too. But Ohtani is something that it's kind of like Wemby, right? We call Wemby the alien, and it's something we've never seen before. Ohtani too. I mean, who's the last hitter pitcher that could do that? Babe Ruth.
I know.
Even Babe Ruth, even he gave up pitching eventually because he focused on hitting, and that's 100 years ago.
So
over 100 years ago.
Last month, I was at Minute Maid watching the Astros play, and they played the Dodgers. And Ohtani went up there, and there's a huge Asian population in Houston. They've got 3 Chinatowns, for crying out loud, right?
Yeah.
The one on Bel Air, the one in Katy, and one elsewhere, right? They've got a Rice Village, I think is where the other one is. The number of people who, like, Ohtani went to the plate and the place stopped. Like, no beer was being sold, no nothing. He hit a home run that I had never heard a sound like that ever done by a baseball player. It went 455 feet, and I think that's BS because it probably went 500 in my eyes. It went into the concourse. He knocked it into the concourse, upper deck, right field. It was a whack. It was a sound. The sound was so pure. It sounded like a driver hitting a golf ball cleanly. And that ball was so far gone. Like, it would have gone out of any park. And even Astros fans were cheering. They were like, what the hell was that? It was a pure moment. Now, the Astros ended up winning that game because Bregman hit a home run to win it in the 9th. So everyone got the best of both worlds. We got to see Ohtani.
You did, right? Yeah.
Ohtani got a couple of singles, stole a base. I mean, 50-50 is what I read an article about, that it's possible that Ohtani could be the first 50-50 guy. Remember when Jose Canseco was a 40-40 guy and everyone made a big old deal about that? A 50-50. I'm going to look up Ohtani's stats right now.
40-40 is such a big deal that Jay-Z named his sports club after it. And Ohtani's might do 50-50. That's another thing. Like, and he's also going to pitch.
Yeah. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And Ohtani is Ohtani and Judge, thankfully are in different conferences or leagues, if you will, because they're going to just basically rack up all the MVP awards and whatnot. I'm looking right now. Look at Ohtani. Ohtani was last year MVP. The year before that, runner-up at MVP. The year after that, before that, was MVP. So he's either been the MVP or runner-up the last 3 seasons. I mean, the guy is basically the Nikola Jokic of Major League.
He's second in home runs. He's almost at 300 batting average. I mean, I can't even find his ERA because they don't.
Oh, he didn't pitch this year. He had an injury.
Oh, that's right.
So 37 homers, 35 stolen bases this year. So he has a legit chance of going 50-50. Like 40-40 is pretty much in the bag. 50-50 would be incredibly, insanely stupid.
So for baseball, would it be in their best interest for Dodgers Yankees World Series somehow? The 2 biggest cities, the 2 biggest stars.
That'd be amazing. Ohtani just turned 30 years old last month, by the way. And I'm looking at Aaron Judge. I did not realize Aaron Judge was so old.
I looked at that too because I was wondering if he had a chance at Bonds.
Aaron Judge's first game in Major League Baseball, he was 24 and a half years old.
He probably spent a lot of time in the minors. I would look at that to see if he had a real shot at Barry Bonds' record.
Yeah, no. So he was actually he was a high pick. He was picked in the first round of the 2013 Major League Baseball draft, towards the end of the first round, but he was just in the minors. He just hung out in the minors. He was in AAA All-Star games. He didn't get called up till 2016, so he got called up 2014, 15, 16, 3 years later. His career is amazing, right? He was Rookie of the Year, 6-time All-Star, 2-time All-MLB first team. He made the All-MLB second team, Silver Slugger Award, home run leader in 2017 and 2022, RBI leader in 2022. Guy's a stud, man. But if I had to put more money on it, I saw Barry Bonds play, and Barry Bonds hit a home run at a game that I was at Dodger Stadium. He played for the Pirates. This was skinny Barry Bonds. I went to that game because I remember telling my dad and my uncle, I want to see Barry Bonds. Like, that is why I want to go. I was like 12 or 13 years old. It was like around 1989, 1990. I wanted to go see, and he was great. Mike LaValliere, I remember this game. Mike LaValliere, who sucked as a catcher for the Pirates, hit a home run to win the game. That's all I remember. I remember it was like 3-2 or 2-1. It was something like that, man. Mario Cavazos reached out to us and saying, growing up and listening to legend Keith Jackson commentary is the best. No one has ever surpassed him. Sam Salinas saying, Breggy Bomb, if you're going to be a fan, get the terminology down, LOL.
Oh, they're already gatekeeping you. They're already gatekeeping you.
My team. So I've been asking this question to our special guest co-hosts all week long. Week 2, September 7th. So September 7th, everyone's going to be talking about UT against Michigan. I want to talk about Texas State against UTSA. UTSA, by the way, who got votes in the AP top 25, got 6 votes, right? Starting the season August 31st against Kennesaw State. That being said, I have dual allegiances to UTSA and Texas State. Will you get mad at me if I wear maroon September 7th in San Marcos?
You and I already don't like any of the same teams except for the Spurs. So, again, same thing. We started the show with you saying you weren't a Rangers fan anymore. You also pick fights with UTSA students on Twitter. So, you're already halfway there. All you need to do is get the maroon shirt, start going to the outlet malls more maybe. But, yeah, you're there, man.
Well, my sophomore and junior year were at Texas State.
Well, will you go to the game?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to the game. I've made plans to go to that game.
Okay.
Now, I go to the UTSA home games, and I represent the blue and orange. My degree's from UTSA, but when I was there, there was no football team. So my sophomore and junior year were at Texas State.
So let me tell you this, though. If you show up to that game in maroon, that's kind of it. Like, whatever you're going to decide, what other team you're going to go for, that's kind of what you got to roll with. Because this is too ugly of a rivalry to play the fence. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's like the Rangers and Astros. Growing up, one was in the NL, one was in the AL. They never played each other. This was before NL and AL played each other. So you could like both teams, and they were both on TV here in San Antonio. Once the Astros were moved to the American League and in the Rangers division, I had to make a choice. I chose the Rangers because I would rather wear gear that said Texas than I would Houston. So for you, you're not alone. A lot of people went to both schools, but the rivalry is so ugly and it's intense. You have to make a decision by September 7th. Whatever decision you go with, you gotta ride with it.
Oh man. Sam Salita saying best answer yet. Speak, John. Here's the thing.
Got to.
Between the 20s, Mike's a UTSA fan in the end zone, Texas State. This is a gay, and then people are saying Dyer's cooking. Go to the Sith Lord.
You got to make a choice, and don't make it now. Make it a big reveal. September 7th, you're in front of the stadium, and we all see who you're rolling with. It's like, the
shirt will be.
Oh, no.
Or House divided. I'll get something made. Okay.
Make a decision.
People are saying, we're making a decision. And you know what's so funny? G.J. Kinney, head coach of Texas State. The guy's legit. Oh, yeah, he is. If there's any game that's going to be a hiccup for UTSA, it's that game. It is that game that could be a hiccup.
Oh, yeah.
But what would be weird, though, is if UTSA fans go to Bobcat Stadium and invade it, and you have more than half the fans.
That's going to be I cannot wait for that game. That's going to be the atmosphere. It'll be the first sellout in San Marcos probably ever, to be honest. And you're right. It might be half and half. It might be like the Red River rivalry, half and half. It might end up end up that way.
I give UTSA fan crap at the Alamo Dome. There's no fan that's any worse than Texas State fan. Texas State football fan is there to get drunk in the parking lot, look at the hot chicks wearing the denim skirts and cowboy boots. That is why you go to the game. There are more people at Texas State who go to the stadium and don't go in. They go to the tailgate, get drunk, and then leave.
They go to Longhorn games after that too. It's a quick drive. And that's the thing. I can't wait for that atmosphere. That's gonna be a great game.
Yeah.
Because another thing too is you mentioned Texas State's coach. He is on the rise. He is giving Jeff Traylor fits in recruiting. Those two guys, those are two amazing coaches. And, they have a great friendship. Honestly, I think McKinney will be the next UTSA coach when it's all said and done.
Midtown saying Demon Mike will be fishing in the parking lot. Here's the thing.
I don't think,
When it comes to the ladies back then, I went to both schools. Texas State was top tier when it came to hotties compared to UTSA.
It was a party school at that point.
Yeah.
It was known. Now, I mean, I'm 41. I don't know who's got the better roster, but yeah, you have to make a decision. You can't ride the fence. We're waiting September 7th.
I'm going to be going to. So I'm already mapping out this year, right? So September. So here's what I got going on, right? And I'm hoping to accomplish 90% of this. August 31st, Kennesaw State, UTSA. I want to go to that game. September 7th, that is going to be the goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, I have a concert. No, I have a concert that night. I got to talk to my daughter about that. I got to tell my daughter about that. Childish Gambino in New Orleans. I haven't bought the tickets yet, but I've been talking about it for the longest time. Do I want to go see Childish Gambino and then the next day watch the Saints play the Panthers at the Superdome? Or do I want to? Oh my! I got to go to Texas State game.
You already. You better hope she's not watching.
Cody's excited because I know what that is. That's Amazon right there. Because
is that your new Texas State shirt you just got delivered?
Well, it's my daughter's birthday today. She turned 12 years old.
Oh, nice.
So
happy birthday to her.
That's her birthday gift. I already know that's what that is. So it's either that or divorce papers. One or the other. Either one's good news for me. Samson is coming out and says, once a party school, always a party school. Name change does nothing to save them.
Fair.
Sith asking if I've been part of the Porta Potty Mile High Club. That's gross. Tony and Alice saying, go to New Orleans with your daughter, bro. Quality time. We'll figure it out. I've already seen 2 concerts with Gabby this year, though. We went and saw the Foo Fighters in New Orleans. We saw the Killers in New Orleans. Childish Gambino.
Oh,
so it's not like I haven't taken her to a concert. But I think Gambino is going to be in Houston later on that week. So maybe I'll convince her to just go to Houston and meet me there because it's not in Baton Rouge. Either go 2 hours to the right or 2 hours to the left. Just meet me someplace.
Childish, he's Troy from Community, right?
Yeah, Donald Glover.
Okay. All right.
Troy and Abed in the morning. Come on. We know Redbone, This is America, Sweatpants, 3005, Heartbeat, Saturday. Lots of good songs from Charles Gambino.
Sam Salinas saying he's saving you from declaring your allegiance.
That's true. Oh, hey, come here. Look who's here. It's Cody.
Hey, and he's inside.
Cody, well, yeah, it's too damn hot outside. You see, I'm a good dog owner, John.
Hey,
I'm not the greatest dog owner, but I'm not bad.
I will tell you about Cody. Right when the show started, he was behind you, sniffing your groceries.
Oh,
if you go back and watch this in the beginning, he was scoping them out.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Joined by John Dyer. You can follow him on Twitter at Spurs and Salsa. We talk sports, pop culture, nostalgia here. I was seeing a story earlier today, and I really just glazed over it or glossed over it, shall I say. Because last year, we talk about celebrity deaths, and some hit you more than others, harder than others, right? And the death of Matthew Perry was not that big of a surprise. We had heard the stories about him having drug issues, having sobriety issues, alcohol, things like that. The stories about how he doesn't even remember much of the experience of being on Friends for that decade. He had the money, but he didn't remember it because he was drunk or high half the time. But according to TMZ, Matthew Perry, arrests made in connection with a ketamine death, doctors, drug dealers in custody. They're calling it a big break in the investigation. It says law enforcement told TMZ that multiple law enforcement agencies executed search warrants, seized computers, phones, electronic computers, equipment to those who supplied Matthew Perry with the drug that caused the overdose, that caused him to lose consciousness and drown in a hot tub in Los Angeles last year. Apparently, he had gotten this ketamine infusion therapy for anxiety and depression, but the last therapy was a week and a half before his death, so they're not sure how he had that drug still in his system if that last therapy was a week and a half before. But that's an ongoing investigation. I find this to be, going back to celebrity deaths. First of all, Matthew Perry, rest in peace. Okay, he was the only good part of Friends. I hated that show.
I'm not a big fan, so I'm not going to fight you on that one. I'm not a big fan of it, so I'm not going to fight you on that.
But I liked him. I didn't like David Schwimmer, F him. Matt LeBlanc, F him. Lisa Kudrow, F him. Jennifer Aniston, F her. Courtney Cox. The fact that I know their names pisses me off, right? Because they all suck.
It's huge.
You know what? I like that show. The first was called Living Single on Fox.
Yes.
It was a complete Control-C, Control-V. Copy, paste, let's insert white people. That's what Friends was. Living Single, the exact same show. It was the exact same show. It wasn't like, there were some similarities. No, it was the exact same show. Okay? Even down to Phoebe, it was the exact same show, right? So that being said, Matthew Perry was the only one that made me laugh on that show because my ex would play it every night before going to bed, and I couldn't stand it. I would sit there. She'd be laughing and laughing. I'd be sitting there going. But Matthew Perry's character, Chandler Bing, was a decent character. That was the best character on the show. Yeah. And then he went off and he did 17 again with Zac Efron. I thought that's a cute movie where they change bodies. The father and the father and son change.
Never heard of that. I like Fools Rush In.
Fools Rush In with Salma Hayek. Excuse me, the white people here are frying or something like that, are dying over here.
Yep.
I'm sorry for Chris Leha, the kitchen dancing scene, where Salma Hayek is dancing and washing dishes, top tier.
Sam Salinas says the whole 9 yards. Also, that was a good one too. And a lot of someone talked. The chat's kind of crazy. There's a Batman signal controversy.
Yeah. Mario Cavazza saying, bring Jennifer Aniston. I'll F her. All right.
She's good in movies.
Well, I mean, Office Space, Drew says Matthew Perry spent the last 10 years of his life talking about the onward march towards death. Only in Hollywood can a so-called recovering addict get IV drug therapy. No lies detected when it comes to that. No lies detected. You look at these celebrity deaths, right? The ones recently that got me, like my favorite singer growing up was Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots. I knew that he was going to die of a overdose. We all knew it.
Yeah.
Ever since Core and Purple and Tiny Music Songs in the Vatican Gift Shop and Four and Shangri-La Di-Da, all the albums that they had there, you knew who was going to die. We knew how that story was going to end, right? So it didn't shock me, and it made me sad because I love that music. And to know that I'll never go to an SCP concert again. I've gone to 5. But Chester Bennington dying of Linkin Park, Chris Cornell dying, that really, those two got to me. Prince dying got to me.
Prince was a big one, yeah.
Michael Jackson, I didn't care. And that is why people get mad, and you got mad at me on social media about this, John Dyer. The next one that no one's going to be surprised about, it's going to happen in the next 2 years, and I'm not trying to put down the universe, knock on wood.
Uh-oh.
Prayers up, Ryan Garcia. We're going to hear he's going to be dead in 2 years.
I don't know if I got mad at you for that. Did I?
You kind of gave me crap about it. You're like, oh, you're starting a celebrity death pool like Mike Taylor.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was like, just do it then. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I could see that.
Go ahead.
I could see that about Ryan Garcia. Very much so, yeah.
Tony and I was saying Kobe's death got to him. Oh,
I got everybody.
Even the whole world I hated Kobe. I couldn't stand Kobe as a player. The guy, may he rest in peace, was more than likely a rapist. Right? Allegedly.
Oh, shit.
Shit went down in Colorado. It's kind of like saying Tony Parker was probably banging Brent Barry's wife, though they never said it, but.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to touch that one about Kobe. But yeah, Prince. I remember Prince dying. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest pure musician of all time. The dude he could do anything musically.
Mario Cavazos saying I hear Drake
died. Probably musically. Yeah. Not literally, but probably musically.
It's so funny seeing these political campaigns, seeing like the politician come out to not like us. Oh my God.
That's what I was telling. So I have a cousin that loves Drake.
Yeah.
And she's like, be subjective. Who won? I said, I don't know who was telling the truth in their battle, but when your diss track is the number one song in America, you won.
And what if it wins Grammys? Because the Grammys came out and said, we'll consider the song here.
But yeah, I've never seen a diss song be so commercial, like so universally loved. Like Hit 'Em Up was big, but they weren't playing it for Bill Clinton's campaign. It would have been funny, but they weren't.
Tony reaches out and says, Mike lost listeners saying Kobe was a rapist, LOL. All I know is that he had to buy Vanessa this ring, and he didn't buy her this ring for no reason.
So you just spent the last
She accused him of rape. And he non-disclosure agreement, all that stuff. It all went down.
You just spent the last minute Googling that ring.
Took me 5 seconds, man. It took me 5. Vanessa Bryant ring. That's all you needed to know. It was like the 5-carat, thing.
Yeah, it was. I mean that. Yes, Tony. The ring was televised.
Prince got hooked on opiates after surgery to fix his damage caused by living in high heels his adult life. Man, and he killed him behind it. Oh. By the way, the videos that you saw of him crossing the street, going to eat all the different Walgreens. He was getting these drugs from Walgreens. It wasn't like some doctor under the table prescribing him, getting the meds and giving it to him. There's surveillance video of Prince going 5'4" of him going up and down the street, going to Walgreens after Walgreens, getting these drugs. Crazy.
You made the Michael Jackson sound for Prince.
What's that?
You made the Michael Jackson sound for Prince.
That's right.
You're gonna piss him off in heaven.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay, so that's right. I was thinking of Carter Anderson, who does the impersonations of Michael Jackson and Prince. He does the Shamon for Michael Jackson, and the Prince one is, like a deep, sexy voice. Like
Chappelle does it.
Dearly beloved, we're gathered here to celebrate this thing called life. Electric word, life means forever. That's a mighty long time. And I mean to tell you, there's something else, the afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun, day or night. So when you call up that streak in Beverly Hills, you know the one, Dr. Everything Will Be All Right. Instead of asking how much of your time is left, ask them how much of your mind, baby. Because in this life, things are much harder in the afterworld. This life, you're on your own.
Look at you. Best halftime show ever?
Because he sang Purple Rain and God made it rain.
Yeah.
And he did a Foo Fighters song.
He sure did. And for no reason, just wanted
Dave
to play
Grohl
music.
was saying that he was drunk watching the Super Bowl and he heard his song. He heard one of his songs, My Hero, I think is the song that he did.
I think it was Best of Me.
Was it Best of Me?
I believe so.
It could be.
Yeah.
It was I think you're right. But that was kind of funny, dude.
Look what you started. The chat is all about Team Kobe versus Team Rape.
I know. Everyone's like, he wasn't a rapist. He was just a cheater. Yeah, I'm not going to play some of these because right now, the way that you and I are doing the show, you can see.
I can see it, yeah.
You can see everything going on. It's a pretty good setup, man. Joe does a fantastic job. I'm going to take a photo of it.
He really does.
But very cool, man. So, you know what's so funny? I hadn't heard Let's Go Crazy in about 6 months. So the fact that I still know the lyrics shows you that I was a Prince fan back in the day. Favorite Prince song? Favorite Prince song?
I like Little Red Corvette. I like that it's...
That song's about a vagina, isn't it?
It's about a girl, a promiscuous woman.
Yeah. You know.
I like that it was so mainstream and...
Something about Trojans left by the jockeys before him. I mean, that's a great
There you
line.
go. You know the lyrics.
But I like the song 7. The 7 Deadly Sins. That's a good one.
I like that he had a crush on Susanna Hoff from the Bengals.
Manic Monday.
He just wrote her Manic Monday. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
Here's a hit. Like, some of us buy flowers, some of us take girls to movies. He gives girls hit songs so they could be rich.
Sam Slynn saying, "Lest we forget, Prince was a baller."
We'll never forget.
The Chappelle Show.
Never forget. Never.
Big blouses.
Yeah, legendary. I like the fact that Prince actually was a baller. Like, that story embellished a little, but it's true. Like, he just
5'4", he liked to hoop.
Yeah, he was good at it.
That is so funny, dude. You know, Prince was so great. I had tickets to see Prince in concert, and
in New Orleans.
Greg Simmons did not let me go.
Dang.
I love Greg Simmons. He jump-started my career in media. I was dating a girl who was a Hooters waitress at the time, and she's like, "Michael, I got us tickets." And I'm like, "Greg, I got tickets to go see Prince." And he goes, "The hell you do? You're going to stay."
So, he probably took your girl. Greg Simmons probably took your girl.
Probably, man.
Simmons
was on the prowl back in the day.
I grew up a big Greg Simmons fan, right?
Yeah.
And I know the way he was pushed out of media because of the DWI. Do you think he deserves his flowers? Like, it's been a little while. Should they have sent him off with a proper send-off? Do you think Greg Simmons deserves a proper send-off?
No. And I love him. I interacted with him the other day. If it was his first time, then yeah, he deserved a proper send-off. But when it was multiple times and we live in a world of Uber and Lyft and whatnot, it just kind of is what it is. They dropped the hammer. They had to drop the hammer. Now, can he be celebrated now? Yes.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I meant. I thought you meant like, should they have like kept him on?
No. What I mean is, could they give him like a nice send-off now? It's, there's some time around it. Because I just think he deserves it. He's a legend.
Case I got rid of a lot of people. People talking about Steve Brown, Nick Simmons, David Sears. I mean, but they took a buyout, and for those of you who don't know, Kasich got rid of like Mike Osterhage and that guy Mark Austin and Ursula Perry. They were offered from reportedly, and I don't have any verification of this, but apparently some journalists were digging around, going, "Well, what were they offered to leave?" They were offered 18 months salary to leave. Oh, that's nice. A hell of a severance. That's not 2 weeks. That is not 2 months. They were offered 18 months severance, and they were already in their 60s. So they're like, "We're gone. We're fine."
Yeah. Tony Ornelas brought up Greg Simmons was always at Thirsty Horse. I saw him a few times at Thirsty Horse. I have a picture where me and him are drunk at Thirsty Horse. So Tony's correct.
I would go to with Simmons. The place that he and I would go drink all the time was Joey's on St. Mary's Strip, right across from.
Yeah.
That was a fun place. We'd go there all the time. See, back in the day, so my introduction to Greg Simmons was this. I had a girlfriend in high school. Her name was Amy. Very, very beautiful girl. Beautiful now still. She got all my newspaper clippings from like the school paper. And I was working at the San Antonio Express News at the time. I don't know if I've ever said this story. What they had me doing, somebody who didn't watch movies growing up, they hired me as a teen movie critic, right?
Wow.
They had Larry Ratliff and Bob Polonsky, I think was the name,
doing Larry Ratliff.
The jalapenos, 5 jalapenos, whatever. They asked all these high schoolers to audition. I auditioned. They liked my writing style. Everyone was given one opportunity. They did me like every month for like 2 years. I have a lot of articles that were on there. So anyway, long story short, ex-girlfriend compiles all this stuff, puts it into a binder, creates a portfolio for me, doesn't tell me, sends it to KSAT because she said that I always talked about Greg Simmons and about their show Instant Replay, how much I liked it. She said it to Greg Simmons. I'm at home, 16 years old. Phone rings, and my mom's like, Michael, phone. I was like, okay. And I had that one 30-foot long cord. I took the cord to like 2 rooms over. I'm like, hello. And he goes, hi, this is Greg Simmons from KSAT 12. I got all your articles. I like your writing. Do you want to come to the station?
Nice.
16 years old, went over there. He worked my ass off 40, 50, 60 hours a week as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, and 18-year-old. By the time they were ready to hire me, everyone was under the impression that I was in my 20s. He was not supposed to be taking me in the newsroom as a teenager. Yeah. But I was effectively a producer of his show at 17 and 18 years old, and he was letting me do post-game interviews. Everyone thought I was in my 20s. Everyone thought I was in college. I was a sophomore at Holmes. And so I owe Greg Simmons a lot, man.
I will say this. I have a similar, I didn't get to meet him, but I randomly emailed him like 15, 17 years ago. And I sent him 2 blogs that I had wrote.
Really?
I remember. And he started publishing them. He said, yeah, send me what you got. And I think once a week for about a year, KSAT 12 and Greg Simmons would publish sports blogs.
Really?
Before I had kids, before I was married, yeah. So I can vouch for that. Greg Simmons gave me an opportunity to.
That's badass, dude. He was all about bringing people upward, you know. Let's see here. Drew Show, Mike, have you been checking out Amy on Facebook? I actually have been checking her out on Facebook every once in a while. We're Facebook
yeah,
friends.
he said like Johnny Lawrence on Cobra Kai. That's true.
I actually ran into Amy at a wedding a handful of years ago, and my ex-wife was looking at her going, who's that? And I was like, she keeps looking at you. And I'm like, that's ex-girlfriend. She was like, nice score. Yeah, that's Amy now.
Hey, so okay. So to the Drew Show's point, do you now that you're single, do you go on Facebook and
you were the original life leader. Mario, you dick.
Do you do the Johnny Lawrence? Do you go scrolling through the X's?
No, not really. I mean, they're X's for a reason. I guess.
Okay.
Tony Knott said, damn, Mike, that's how you got your experience. Pretty cool story. Very cool. Greg Simmons is saying, Greg Simmons is poodle. That's true.
Yeah.
Tony says, this reminds me of my emails I used to send Century Express News, Buck Harvey back in the day. My amateur Spurs analyzation that Buck liked.
I love Buck Harvey too, man. I lived to read Buck Harvey's commentary, man.
So there was Buck Harvey and Kevin O'Keefe. They were the guys back in the day.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting Buck Harvey. I was a huge Buck Harvey fan. Huge. Like I'm sure you were too. And I remember meeting him at KSAT one time. And I just went up to him and said, hey, man, really enjoy your stuff. Thank you so much. You know, I try to like mirror myself to you. What I have learned in life is that there are some people who cannot take a compliment. There's some people who are very have social anxiety. Like when I met Ricky Williams back in the late 90s, I've met Ricky Williams in the late 90s, and Ricky Williams, Longhorn legend, former New Orleans Saint, former Miami Dolphin, is friends with my family. Ricky Williams, we'll go to an event and we'll see Ricky Williams at our family events.
Nice.
Ricky Williams is basically my former brother-in-law's very, very good friend. And when I saw Ricky Williams at Super Bowl Radio Row a year ago, I was like, hey, Renee says hi. And he goes, man, Renee's my boy. And we were going back and forth and all that stuff. But that being said, when I first met Ricky Williams, I was a teenager. I was 19 years old. He was 19 years old. And when I tried interviewing him one time, he had the visor on, the helmet on, didn't want to talk. And now I realize he wasn't being a dick. He had social anxiety disorder. And I think that's what Buck Harvey had. I could be wrong. Maybe Buck Harvey was an extrovert that I didn't know. But every time I talked with him about his work, he would I thought he was being a dick. But I think that maybe it's just he wasn't comfortable in a social setting.
Okay.
More asking, did Buck Harvey big time you? I thought so at the time, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think Drew Show has it correct. Buck Harvey is just simply strange.
Do you remember Dan Raphael? He used to be the boxing writer for ESPN.
What's the name again?
Dan Raphael.
Oh, I recognize the name, but I can't picture him, but I recognize the name.
I met him at a hotel prior to a big fight. Just me, him, and my wife in the elevator. And he big timed me so bad, like if he was somebody special. I don't know if Fernandez is still listening, but that's the guy I always like. F this guy. And other boxing writers told me he was a dick, and I always gave him the benefit of the doubt because I didn't meet him, and then I met him. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Sam Slynn is saying about Amy, she's the one you didn't forget because of what she did. That is awesome. That is true. She was also my first love.
I like that this has become a tribute to sportscasters and writers that we all grew up on. Buck Harvey.
He was really good, man.
He was too. He really was.
I remember some about old school ones, and then sometimes they get really old, and they like right now. I have a hard time watching PTI because Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon got old, and it's not that they're old; it's not an ageist thing. Their philosophy and thought went old, right? I'm 47 years old, but I don't ever want to be old. I want to always be thinking about things that are up and coming, like not get set in my ways. Right? There's a reason why I want to go see all the games and go to Childish Gambino and all that stuff. Because, dude, I'm 47. You are in your early to mid 40s. Dude, I run into friends at restaurants, at stores and whatnot, and they've gotten old, man. They've gotten old in spirit and mind and mentality. They're breaking down. They're not doing stuff. Last night I went and walked 4 miles because I can. I started lifting weights again because I can. Thinning out because I can and want to, baby, you know? But I look at it and I'm just thinking to myself, I don't want to get old. I'll eventually, Lord willing, be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. But I don't want to be an old 50. I don't want to be an old 60 or an old 70. I want to be able to still be young. This podcast is one of the reasons why it keeps me young. My daughter who's 12 years old today, her birthday today. Ava, love you. But she finds it funny that there's a podcast that Dad and Joe do that has 1,041 subscribers.
Really?
She thinks it's funny and weird. And like I said, I can make more money just doing my work, but this is what keeps me young. Talking sports and stuff like that. Mario Cavazos asking a question. What are your thoughts on the possibility of the Saints trading Derek Carr to the Vikings? Spencer Rattler is shining. Well, Derek Carr is not the long-term solution, so if they did that, it wouldn't piss me off. It wouldn't piss me off. Spencer Rattler, I mean, he bounced around in college. It's not like it's not like he was like the marquee quarterback in all of college, but he was kind of a winner. He bounced back.
I will say this. So every rookie quarterback that was drafted this year has looked good in preseason.
Right.
I'm real curious to see how, like right now we're all in love with all of them, right? Every single rookie quarterback looks good. I'm really looking forward to seeing which ones are real, which ones just preseason.
Mm-hmm.
To the Saints point, let me ask you this. You're a Saints fan. Why do the Saints never why do they always looking for temporary solutions to quarterback?
It's a very good point. It really pisses me off because, I mean, Drew Brees was their guy for over a decade. And you would think that they would want to have a continuity. You look at Green Bay going from Favre to Rodgers to Love, right? You want to have that continuity at the quarterback position. I think they got burned because one of the things I say about the NFL is you go get your guy. You go get your guy. That's why I don't like when you see Jerry Jones fall back in the draft, right? Or stand. If you like your guy, you go get your guy. There was that one draft where they wanted J.C. Horn and they wanted a stud cornerback out there, and then they backed into Micah Parsons. Go get your guy.
You're not making a good point though by using that example.
But that's a bad example. But at some point, you go get your guy. And then maybe that is a bad example. But Jerry Jones will sometimes just sit there and see all the offensive tackles get taken, and he's like, okay, I'll take this guy. The Saints were there, ready to draft, and this is according to Sean Payton. They were going to draft Patrick Mahomes. They refused to move up one spot.
Oof.
The Chiefs jumped ahead of them, got Mahomes. And it took their draft into a tailspin, and I don't think they've recovered from that. Because they had their guy that they scouted, that they worked out, that they fell in love with, and got taken at the last second. And I don't think they've recovered from that. I think Derek Carr is a decent quarterback, not a good quarterback, not a bad quarterback. He's all right. He'll get you 4,000 yards. He'll get you 4,000 yards.
Do you think the Spurs did that with their 8th pick with Saloon? Is his name Saloon?
With Saloon instead of, yeah. You were pissed that day, dude. We were watching the draft together there at Pete's place in Helotes. And when Dillingham was taken, and you were like, oh my God.
Yes.
You were so excited, dude. Then you were pissed 3 minutes later.
Yes.
Yeah, because they could have gotten Saloon had they moved up. If they wanted to package some of their picks or some of their swaps, they could have gotten Saloon if they wanted to. They could have gotten anybody that they wanted to. They had the draft capital to move up. By the way, let's go ahead and give some love to MCS General Contracting. You can get their merch as well, man. Chris Lehal and the fellas are out here in that 102-degree heat, pouring that concrete, man. You have concrete placement needs. Basketball courts. I'm sure they'll do a pickleball court if you want one. Sidewalks. They did a sidewalk at my house. They did a patio extension. I would give them a call for all of that as well. Don't forget also Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5,000 subscribers now on Locked On Spurs. He's going to get going in full force once the season starts. Right now, kind of doing it, like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, right, for the most part. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of stories going on there. A card collector, according to Jeff Garcia on Kens5.com, has announced a $1 million bounty on a Spurs Victor Wembanyama Superfractor auto card. So you can read that article on Kens5.com, or you can link to it on Twitter and Threads at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Also, give me a call. My number is 210-508-0369. If you have questions about finance, retirement planning, investments, insurances, things like that, I'm your guy for when it comes to that. Tony coming out and says, bro, if Dillingham becomes the man with the Wolves, I'm going to be pissed. What if Dilly and Council would have been great together? Damn, Dillingham better suck.
Yeah. And nobody wants him to suck more than Brian Wright, because he'll be judged on that trade fairly or unfair. I mean, you're right. I'll be pissed if Dillingham's. Even if he's like a microwave, he comes off the bench and just heats it up for 12, 15 a game.
You also had a really good point on Twitter. You've mentioned this a few times that Brian Wright's really good at selling hope. Just selling hope. And at some point, you got to make a decision. At some point, you got to use it. By the way, before we let everybody go, TMZ Sports just posted a story. Australia's ray gun has broken her silence following the viral Olympic moment, asking people to stop the hate towards her ray gun. By the way, I love the name. Was the Australian who made her way into the Olympics and did that horrific breakdancing move, which, by the way, now breakdancing is out of the Olympics for 2028.
Yeah, way to go. Way to go, ray gun. Ruined the whole sport.
Yeah, you would have known that she wasn't good at breakdancing by the fact that she's 36 years old. But I like the name Ray Gun. Dude, what would be your name? If you were like there's Turbo, there's,
Ozone. That was the big one. That's not mine. I'm saying that's from the movie Break-In. Man, what would be my Break-In name? Depends on what I was good at. I would try to aim it towards, if the flare, if I was good at that, or the windmill, or it would have been like, if I was good at the windmill, I would have called myself Booker T, like the wrestler that used to do it.
Nice.
Something like that. A play on that, maybe. But man, she really stuck onto the Olympics.
Yeah, Sam reached out saying that there was some shenanigans done by her husband and her. They kept people from competing. They only had one competition to make the Olympics. How
did How did they pick breakdancers? Did they have battles? Like, I hope they had battles.
There was supposed to be a battle. So what ended up happening was
Well, I mean, to make the team. To make the team.
The alleged story is that she realized that Australia did not have a breakdancing team. She was looking at all the Olympic competitions that didn't have one. She created an IOC division of it all, the Olympic committee. They sanctioned her. It was her job to go out there and find breakdancers, and she just basically said, "It's me," you know.
Okay.
She won a competition. She won a competition, but it was like only a handful of people that took part.
Okay, never mind. I really respect Reagan. That is so cool. She found her way onto the Olympics.
Do you know what that reminds me of? The movie War Dogs with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill, where they're like, "We want the crumbs. We scour the list of things that the military needs, and we want the crumbs because the crumbs are millions of dollars. We don't need the slice of the cake."
And she's not the only one, because I mean, there's some sports where you're like, I could be good at that, like ping pong or other curling. There's things where normal people can be like, if I really focus on that. So for her to take the initiative, now she's become she's gone viral, but I kind of respect Reagan now.
I mean, she made it happen. She made it happen.
She did.
By the way, I'm going to let you know something right now. Just got a text message from my mom. Come on, Mom. You know I'm doing the show. She texted me, "Would you like to go have lunch?"
Nice.
Where she chose is someplace I haven't been in 15 years. Acadiana's.
I went yesterday.
No kidding.
Yes.
What do I get when I'm over there?
Get the alligator strips.
Nice.
And so they're closing at the end of the month. So when you walk in to the left, they have recipes they're giving out. If you want to try some. Yeah.
Very nice. Before we let everybody go, I see your shirt. Let us know what you're up to, man. Tell us about your company.
Yes. I'm the owner-operator of Housemaster San Antonio. I do home inspections. So if you need one, give me a call at 210-420-6400. I'll tell you what, if you mention this podcast, I'll give you 10% off, whether it's you're buying a new home or your warranty warranty is going out on your new build. Give me a call. I'll hook you up.
That is John Dyer. You can follow him on Twitter. You can also reach out to him at Spurs in Salsa. It's also a great page on Facebook as well called Spurs in Salsa as well.
Oh.
It's great content. It's a Spurs community. It's like Spurs Twitter, but nicer because it's on Spurs Facebook.
Everybody's nicer about it, yeah.
People are having legit conversations, not calling each other a-holes. Twitter's a cesspool, but I love it. I love it.
It's crazy town.
But anyway, man, I want to thank everybody for being on. Thank you, MCS General Contracting, Jeff Garcia, Housemasters.
Yes.
And don't forget me as well if you have any financial issues. That's it. We'll be back tomorrow. My name is Mike Jimenez. That is John Dyer. Thanks for being on, Dyer. Tomorrow,
thanks for having me.
We're going to keep it Exit 7 Poodle, baby. We're going to have more than likely Fernandez on tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm going to try to get on Monday, James Pledger. Again, no Joe Garcia for the next week and a half or so. He's too busy becoming a Fed.
Federale.
That's it, baby. We'll be back. Everyone like and share. Thank you for the super chat as well. We'll text back to Frank. Thank you so much for the super chat, and we'll be back tomorrow. Y'all take care.
All right.
Later on, John. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks.